Now, your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers present the WSAV-CW Thursday Blitz Countdown.
Welcome to Thursday Blitz Countdown. Happy to have you gathered around our table as always as we get you set for week 2 of high school football in the Low Country and Coastal Empire. You already know who it is. On the right is Calvin Wilson from Explosive Sports Training. In the center, our stalwart weekend sports anchor, Connor Delpreet, the original Big Three. How y'all doing this week?
Football's back. I'm just happy to be back
all the way
on
back.
the gridiron. It was a great week.
Yeah, we had some interesting things happen in week 1. Let's get into it, and we begin with the highest profile matchup in the Chatham County Public School System, where New Hampstead absolutely took it to Windsor Forest. The Phoenix kicked off the scoring in the first quarter with a 66-yard touchdown from Paulie Seeley to Toriano Bias. And that is kind of the way the rest of this game would go. It was 20-6 at halftime, 41-12 New Hampstead, your final here. These two teams were tied for the Savannah City Championship last year informally. Didn't feel all that close this time around, guys.
It was a 7-6 game last year, right? And I remember last week I said I think it's going to be higher scoring, but I thought both teams would score a little bit higher. Windsor Forest just wasn't able to get anything going on the ground with Mike Caballero, and then they were just in passing situations the rest of the game, being down so soon, just so early in that game. New Hampstead just went like air raid on them, right? 4 touchdown passes in 3 quarters from Paulie Seeley. So anytime you're sitting in the fourth quarter typically means that you've done a pretty good job. So
yeah, Bias had, 4 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, so he really tore it up. Not to mention his quarterback, but we'll talk about him a little further later on in the show.
Yeah, they also did a really nice job of bottling up Mike Caballero. He sort of didn't impact the game as much as we had thought. Obviously a very talented runner, but New Hampstead's defense, stout.
Yeah, and Windsor Forest's defense, on the other hand, had so many young guys, 8 guys that are sophomores or freshmen. So this is very
really
different.
Tough
this is
situation.
different than the defense last year, who allowed like 10 points a game to region opponents. So a little bit of growing pains for Jeb Stewart and that Windsor Forest team. I think they'll be good come region time, but right now it was just New Hampstead's night.
Yeah, New Hampstead got a lot of athletes, and they're going to use them. So look out for New Hampstead this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. My surprise team. So New Hampstead, maybe the team to beat in Chatham County. Let's see. Maybe. Let's jump over to the private school side of things. Country Day, Bulloch Academy, Chatham County versus Bulloch County. The Country Day Hornets, the Bulloch Academy Gators. Not only did they remember the 32-2 loss they suffered in 2020, Country Day reversed it. 34-14, Hornets your final in this one. Of course, with Calvin on set, we have to give the little general his due. Barry Klein-Peter threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for another one. Keith James also started the game with a kickoff return TD. Fellas, is this game a sign of things to come for the Hornets?
I think so. I think they're a senior-led team. They have 15 seniors on the team this year, and I think that's big when you're talking about trying to challenge for the region championship or in the playoffs, having leadership. And you got the little general, Kenny, and you got all the other guys, man. You got a lot of guys on that team that has a lot of experience.
Yeah, coming into this, you worry with a new head coach in John Morin. The rumor was he was going to get more to the run game, and we definitely saw that in the first couple of quarters that I was there. But they had a nice blend of they'd have Barry Klein-Peter do some design quarterback runs, but then they'd also just toss it out to Kenny Odom and let him do work. And we're going to get to that in a little bit, but the way that they can attack you on offense, I think, is really scary. And a lot of Savannah private schools are looking at that tape last week and being like, okay, we got to really deal with this offense. We got to shut them down.
Yeah, you had some really good highlights that you shot of Kenny Odom. We're going to get deeper into that later in the show, but we would be remiss if we didn't mention our game of the week from last week. Richmond Hill and Buford over in the Eagles Nest. I've got to be honest, we didn't quite get the full-strength showdown that we were looking for. The Wildcats had dozens of kids out due to COVID protocols, so many that they were starting freshman running back Caleb Easterling at quarterback. This game was actually within a touchdown and a 2-point conversion entering the fourth quarter. That's when Buford truly put it away. Amari Morris ran for over 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Eagles took the victory 28-8, your final there. This was a weird one, guys. Did we actually learn anything about either team?
Certainly not about Richmond Hill, right? Like, they love being the underdog and stuff, but this was too big of a mountain
Right.
to climb. They like to be the underdog at full strength and surprising people. We didn't really get the full idea of who Richmond Hill was, especially without their starting quarterback. Having a freshman running back play quarterback there too, that's a tough situation to put him in. I've heard great things about Caleb Easterling, but not for what he does at quarterback, for what he does at running back, wide receiver, and defensive back. Buford, meanwhile, they just took care of business. They look solid, really strong defensive front, able to bottle up Richmond Hill.
Yeah, I think just the war of attrition. You know,
that's what it felt like.
And so I don't know if Buford got a real test of what they really were, because if it was 8-8 going into the fourth, then it kind of disappoints you. But it gives you something to work on when you're talking about practice. Like, look. They were out 54 players, and now
motivation.
Yeah. So
their defensive front got into Buford's backfield early and often. I will say that.
Wow.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to Caleb Easterling, because you're a freshman. You're making your debut on the road at a position you didn't train for. You've got 20-plus carries right into the teeth of the line. The heat index is over 100 degrees, and you're playing a region champion. Good luck, freshman.
Good luck,
Yeah, and he dealt with it admirably, I've got to say. Yeah. Well, we're going to step aside for a second here on the countdown. When we come back, we will address perhaps the most impressive performance from any viewing area team in Week 1, a team that arguably got too little respect in the preseason. That's right, we're calling you out, pollsters. Welcome back to Thursday Blitz Countdown. Thank you for spending a part of your evening with us. Andrew Goldstein, Calvin Wilson on the right, Connor Delpreet, in case you didn't catch the intro. Fellas, I think it's time that we consider Calvary Day. Can we consider Calvary Day for a second?
Statement win.
Because they put on a heck of a performance last week. The Cavaliers took on Prince Avenue Christian at home, a consensus top 10 team in single A private, a team that beat Calvary 42-7 last year. This time, it was the Cavaliers adding a W to their column with a 21-13 victory on their home turf. Now, it obviously helps that quarterback Brock Vandegrift is at Georgia now instead of at Prince Avenue. The Wolverines do not lack for talent up and down their roster, and Calvary took it to them anyways. So, Calvin, very few preseason polls rank the Cavaliers in the top 10 at all. Should they have? Is that something they should have done?
Oh, no doubt. Yes, with everything that was coming back, most of the guys were sophomores, freshmen, and stuff like that. I think they can make a big push this year. Will they win it? I don't know, but next year, with everything they have coming back, if Jawan Johnson steps up and becomes the leader as a senior, because they have very few seniors, but if that senior class steps up and lead those guys, they could go back to back. I think they'll have a chance.
That's spicy.
Next year, I predict them at least semis, finals next year. No doubt. They have that much talent coming back next year.
Okay, Connor, does that lack of a senior class, a big senior class anyways, bother you at all, or is this a team that's a state title contender now?
Maybe slightly come playoff time, but you saw in crunch time on Friday, it was a sophomore, A.J. Butts, who made the game-sealing interception for them. So the young guys have gotten under the brightest stage they'll see, in a couple of weeks now by playing Prince Avenue Christian, the defending state champs, and knocking them off. So I think come playoff time, yes, it would be nice to have a couple more seniors, but maybe these sophomores and juniors are going through a maturing process right now, and they just become those younger leaders. I think that the blend of veteran talent with young talent makes me think that with this any given Friday mentality, if you get the right situation, if you have home field advantage through a good bit of the playoffs, which is going to go up to that coin flip with the GHSA, I like the Cavaliers at the Specialty Sports Complex every single time, no matter who they're playing. You look at Ryan Merklinger. Did I just say Ryan Merklinger?
Jake Merklinger.
His older brother graduated. He's one of the few
he
seniors
gets scrambled
that
in the brain here sometimes.
Merklinger. Donovan Johnson, the freshman running back, remember that dude's name. He was great in his first high school start last week with nearly 100 yards and a touchdown. I love their blended talent. So I'm not going to write them off for state champions this year. They just got to avoid Eagles Landing Christian until the state championship, I think.
But the veterans at Country Day against the young guys at Calvary, it's going to be a great game.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Game of the week potential.
Well, by the way, one thing I think we need to talk about with Calvary is the secondary, because they did a fantastic job last week. Aaron Philo, it's definitely a little bit awkward taking over for a quarterback as great as Brock Vandegrift was, but to pick him off 4 times, with all the talent that Prince Avenue Christian has, and you mentioned A.J. Butts, not only is he racking up an interception, but he's also getting 11 tackles. He was all over the field. We think of Troy Ford as that guy on Calvary, and for good reason. He's an incredible talent. But we also can't let A.J. Butts fly under the radar because he was a true sideline-to-sideline guy for them last week. When you combine the young talent on defense with your guy that you've been telling me about since last year, Donovan Johnson, going for the game-winning touchdown, what ended up being the game-winning touchdown, man, this Calvary team is stacked for years to come, and that pipeline is only going to grow once you see middle schoolers around the Savannah area look at Calvary and say, that is the kind of place where I can win a state championship.
I agree.
We haven't even talked about Terry Simmons, too. You talk about the interceptions from the secondary. One of those that I was there for doesn't happen with Terry Simmons and that defensive line pressuring Philo. He throws up, probably not the smartest pass in the world, but he felt that pressure from the defensive line, and it was picked off. And 5 minutes before, Terry Simmons ate his lunch.
Go back and watch that hit.
Oh, I was there. I could hear from the sideline. It was insane.
Calvary's got some dudes on that front
seven.
seven.
Do. Yep.
Well, we are going to move on to our Athlete of the Week, and we're going to take you to Hinesville after the break, where a softball standout is the talk of the school at Bradwell Institute. You can meet her in just a bit.
After a long Monday at school, no one would blame these girls for starting practice a little sluggish, especially in the 94-degree heat. And then there's Jacoria Leonard.
Practice, I don't even have to be out here. Good. She sets up the field. She sets up all the girls. She gets everything started.
Like Bradwell's own version of the Energizer Bunny.
Hey, Mama!
Leonard never seems to stop.
Because, I like to dive, get dirty. God! And I'm very fast, so I can get to the ball. Golly!
It's what caught Coach Misty Eastlake's eye when Leonard first tried out for the team as a freshman.
She got the chance to play varsity, and she never lost the chance.
2 years later, Leonard is an everyday starter.
I feel as though, I can't go without it because, it helps me move during the day, that I know that I'm coming to practice and I'm, going to play softball. Can't live without it, I guess.
She's the heartbeat of this Tigers team.
Oh, no.
Ooh. But her versatility is really what makes her stand out.
I've played every position, even pitcher, surprisingly.
Bradwell's Swiss Army knife makes for an intriguing college prospect. Her dream is to play for the University of Georgia and eventually USA Softball. No matter what happens, Eastlake says her star player may have a future in coaching.
I had a summer camp at the recreation department, and she was one of the girls that helped lead that camp. The parents, the players, you can hear her right now on the field.
Up! Way to be!
The parents, the players, everybody they were just proud of her because at her age, you don't really see that many leadership qualities.
A 3.6 GPA, the first junior to wear the captain's armband, the respect of her teammates. Leonard seems to have it all, but she keeps working.
I've got 20 of them that I love, and, she's always at the top trying to reach the top.
Okay, everybody, time to recognize the top performers of last week and let it be known that we had some truly outstanding candidates to choose from. You guys ready?
Oh, I'm born ready.
All right, let's do it. We start with Whale Branch's Joseph Hicks, who was playing Madden on easy mode out there. Hicks touched the ball 4 times in the fourth quarter for Whale Branch and scored on all of them. 8 yards, 25 yards, 50 yards, all rushing touchdowns, and a 66-yard kickoff return touchdown for good measure. Whale Branch came back from 18 points down at the start of the fourth quarter against Calhoun County to win 54-50, thanks in part to Hicks. 355 all-purpose yards and 6 touchdowns. Do not sleep on that loco talent, guys.
Jerry Hatcher always has a dude in the backfield like that, whether it's a quarterback that does it all or Joseph Hicks, who was the guy last year, and he is coming into form again already. Are you kidding me? 4 touches and 4 touchdowns? That is illegal. I checked in 9 different states. Luckily, South Carolina was not one of them.
That's unbelievable. Those are video game numbers.
It really is.
Wow. Look, it looked like they were getting out of his way because he was running straight over people. No doubt. He was looking people up. And I think in the fourth quarter, you don't want to tackle that guy in the fourth quarter.
No.
And so, like you said, it's a business decision, and my decision is not to tackle him.
Yeah, in the low country heat, you see who's conditioned in the fourth quarter because the defenses start to soften up a little bit. If you've really been doing what you need to do in the summer, you get stronger as everybody else gets weaker.
And if you're used to playing against spread offenses, if your team is a spread offense, you don't want to tackle. You're soft.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. You're soft.
That
Joseph
was
Hicks
pretty
will punch.
incredible.
Yeah.
Well, our second performer of the week. Let's take a look at the week's premier quarterback. When it comes to Week 1 QB performances, you won't find many, if any, better than New Hampstead's Paulie Seeley. You know you've done a good day's work when you don't even have to play in the fourth quarter. Seeley amassed 317 yards and 4 touchdowns in just 3 quarters of work and on just 14 completions. This is not somebody who was dinking and dunking his way down the field. Now, granted, Windsor Forest defense had 4 guys that didn't play any time last season, so context is important, but still a really impressive performance.
Yeah, I really like this kid, and he understands that he has playmakers around him. Get the ball to your playmakers. You know, I go back to when at Florida, when they wasn't playing Kyle Trask and they were playing Felipe Franks, and he was throwing it down the field and all. When you change to Kyle Trask, he understood to get the ball to your playmakers, and that's what makes you a great quarterback. And so I think this kid he's right on time. He's right on time with everything that he's doing right now.
Yeah, and Connor New Hampstead certainly has no shortage of playmakers.
No, I think he's going to like that Kyle Trask comparison, too. Really? So you're getting on his good side there.
Man.
He looked calm, cool, and collected. What a way, a statement win for New Hampstead because of how close that game was last year, to come out and say, y'all may think you had a share of the Savannah City Championship last year, but we are the team to beat in Savannah. I'm sure Islands and Jenkins and everyone else will have something to say, but as long as Paulie Seeley's cooking like that, I don't see a defense in Savannah that can stop him.
All right, well, QB is nothing without his wide receivers, so let's take a moment for one of the area's best. Country Day's Kenny Odom was a yards after catch machine against Bulloch Academy. Yeah, he averaged almost 21 yards per reception and found the end zone twice against the Gators, and he used some of the slickest moves in the book to do it.
Oh, here it comes.
Check this out. Just absolutely tearing the secondary to ribbons with the ball in his hands. After watching that performance, it is no wonder that Odom and Klein Peter have combined to rewrite the Chatham County record books. Do you guys think we'll see something similar against Emmanuel County Institute this week?
Why not? You know, I said it before and I'll say it again. Defenses know what's coming and they still can't stop it. Before, you think back off of Kenny, let him catch it underneath, and then just work on tackling. But last week they showed that even if you do that, he's going to make people miss. He's not just a deep threat where Barry bombs it down the field. Anytime Barry can get Kenny the ball, it's going to pay off dividends for that Country Day team, who is vastly improved from that game last year against Bulloch Academy.
Yeah, you just get the ball to the kid and you put him in space, and then in space it's hard to tackle him. It's like if you box him up, he's still going to find a way out. Kenny is probably, for his size and his speed, he can go deep, he can catch it underneath. He's a premier player in Savannah right now.
Yeah, one of the best. By the way, an honorable mention performance of the week goes to George Futch of Savannah Christian. 7 catches, 146 yards, and a touchdown in the Raiders' loss to ECI. It was a really close decision between Futch and Odom. Next on the countdown, the biggest matchups of the week ahead and our picks for Game of the Week. We're all 1-0. Is that going to continue? All right, time for my personal favorite part of the show, our rundown of the 5 best games on the Week 2 docket. You both had a chance to review it. Are you interested in Week 2?
Yes, I think it is right up there with the Week 1 slate, too. A lot of exciting non-region matchups.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with game number 5, Calvary Day and Bulloch Academy. The Gators are playing the second of their 2 GHSA opponents on the year, trying to avoid falling into an 0-2 hole. You know the pressure is going to be intense on running back Rodney Hill.
Yeah, this is a great chance for him to go up against some premier talent. Again, we know the Florida State commit played pretty well against Savannah Country Day last week. He got a kickoff return touchdown as I was tweeting, so I apologize about that. But, hey, Bulloch Academy, you just played a great quarterback and wide receiver. Congratulations. You get to play another one in Jake Merklinger and company.
I'm sorry. See that guy there? Blowout.
Terry
Blowout.
All right.
Blowout.
The man has spoken. For our number 4 game of the week, we're traveling all the way to Baxley. Appling County reached the 3rd round of the AAA playoffs last year, started 1-0 this season. Now the Pirates will bring their run-heavy attack to bear on Clinch County.
I watched Clinch County. Clinch County, they must be young because they're usually a really tough team, but Appling County has athletes all over the field. Blowout.
Their defense.
Another one.
Yeah.
All right, a little bit of a disclaimer for our number 3 game. Islands and Windsor Forest will have started already by the time you watch this. It may have ended depending on how quickly it goes. It's a Thursday game, but it's too much of a marquee matchup not to talk about. So we're either going to look very smart or very dumb right on the spot. Who you got?
So I'm staying in the middle of the fence. I'm not going to answer your question.
Wow.
I'm just going to say
Boo.
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see Islands post DeMonte Smith, Bubba Chisholm, Jaden Adams. Can they contain Mike Caballero, who is going to be begging for some touches after a tough week against New Hampstead?
Mike, Langston Lewis. Watch Langston Lewis. They could just throw it up. The kid will go get the ball.
Yep.
All right, game number 2. I think everyone has been looking forward to this one since it was announced last April. Benedictine opening its season against Christopher Columbus, the largest private school in Florida. This one is going to be fun.
2 D1 quarterbacks, and Holden Gerner going to Auburn, and then Yale got Fernando Mendoza from Christopher Columbus. This isn't Atlanta. I know Savannah's always begging to be up there with the Atlanta teams, playing them and seeing how they stack up, but the 2019 state champs and 9-0 team from Miami isn't a bad secondary option. Max Preps told me that one person from that Columbus team has graduated. You want a tough test, Benedictine? I think you just got one.
I just think if the referees, whatever the referees do, I take Benedictine by 2 points. I'm serious.
All right. Yeah. And finally, our game of the week. Liberty County Bradwell has been postponed due to COVID-19 concerns, so we made a last-minute switch. We'll be traveling with Brunswick to Darien, where the Pirates are set to take on McIntosh County Academy.
Huge win for Brunswick last week. They did it on running clock, though. It looked like Pierce County was down a bunch of players and wanted to go running clock. MCA tied Glen Academy. We don't know a lot. What I do know is Brunswick has Keshawn Thomas. He's a 4-star.
Should be a great game.
All right. Quickly, game of the week prediction. McIntosh County Academy, Brunswick, who you got?
Brunswick.
Yeah. I don't want to go chalk, but I got to go Brunswick.
All right, I'm going to go Brunswick too. Well, we're going to post the Twitter poll asking you who you think is going to win the game. In the meantime, we'll see you on Friday, and we'll see you next week on Thursday Blitz Countdown.